Thanks for joining me for this interview today. This is my daughter, Shanice. She's a nurse practitioner, and we're going to talk about the different weight loss medications out there and the weight loss medications that everybody is trying to get at the moment, which isn't really weight loss medications. They're mainly for diabetics, but everybody is scrambling to get their hands on Ozempics and Trulicity and all of these diabetic medications that diabetics need. But a lot of people want to use them for weight loss. So, Shanice, tell me a little bit about what's going on out there and what's this big rush on Ozempics and is the reason why it's so expensive now is because so many people trying to get their hands on it, or what? What's going on out there in the medical world?
Well, no. So Ozempic and Wegovy, Victoza, Trulicity, all those medications were initially created for type 2 diabetics specifically. And they're really good medication. They're either a weekly or a daily injectable, depending on which kind you get. Ozempic is a weekly injectable that helps lower your A1C when you're a diabetic and is really good for cardiovascular health, so your heart health, but subsequently also helps with weight loss. And it does that by slowing down your gastric emptying, or basically slows down how fast your stomach digests food. And so you feel full longer. It also sends a signal to your brain saying that you're full, which makes you not want to eat more. And then some of this, sorry.
So it simulates like a gastric bypass. That's what it sounds like. And I'm just letting everybody know this is not medical advice.
Right.
So please, if you have any medical questions, please make sure you talk to your primary doctor. So this is not medical advice.
Yep.
So let's get back to the subject. Um, so it's kind of behave like a gastro bypass. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, now that you say it that way, it's similar, right? That's it's not permanent like gastric bypass would be, but yeah, it's very similar on kind of what it does to your brain to trick you into not eating as much as you normally would. Now, that doesn't mean you can't eat as much as you normally did, but you would just feel really sick.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's a good medication. So one of the side effects side effect, I guess you would call it, is that weight loss, right? This is a great thing, especially for type 2 diabetics, where a lot of the times obesity is a contributor to why you end up with that disease. So it's a really good thing. But yeah, it's now in the hands of the mainstream market, if you want to say it that way, where everybody's interested, because just like diet culture, everybody wants a quick way to lose weight. And Ozempic can provide that for you. And so that's why I think it's so popular right now.
So I mean, do Ozempic and like Trulicity, and I know there's a couple more out there. Do they pretty much work the same? Why is Ozempic is the one that most people talk about, even though Trulicity does the same thing?
I'm pretty sure it's because Ozempic was the first to do it.
Okay, okay,
And then Ozempic, I'm pretty sure, is the one or the only one. It's which is now also known as Wegovy. It's the same medication, different name. That's now just for people with intentions of weight loss. Is the only one I think being prescribed for weight loss purposes during that time. I think more now, but I think Ozempic it started with that, if I'm not mistaken.
okay. So you say now they have one specifically for weight loss. So is it still as expensive as the Ozempic, the normal Ozempic or Trulicity, or did they lower the price and did they take something out of it?
So I, I'm not on the weight loss side of it and how billing goes for that. A lot of those people are private insurance and things like that. But Ozempic is pretty expensive, but it's basically what your insurance will cover based on diagnostic codes. So even with weight loss and Ozempic or Wegovy, you have to meet certain criteria in order to qualify to get it, unless you want to fully pay out of pocket, which I would assume could be thousands of dollars. So um, you still have to meet criteria. You have to have obesity, and then I believe other at least one comorbidity, along with obesity that would make you qualify for it for weight loss, like high blood pressure or something like that.
So high blood pressure or diabetes. So if
Yeah,
you have diabetes, can you also get the weight loss one, or they'll just give you Ozempic?
Ozempic, Trulicity, all of those medications is for diabetics. That's who we prescribe it to first.
Okay, okay. So I'm so let's jump into the side effects of these.
Hmm.
Um, so say if you're not a diabetic and you want to use these different diabetic, you're not a diabetic, you want to use these diabetic drugs, like I said, like Ozempic, Trulicity. Does it lower your blood sugar too low if you're not diabetic, or how do they work?
That
Or do they just regulate your blood sugar? It won't lower it to where it becomes a danger to you.
that's a really good question. And I was actually reading about that. Ozempic or any of those medications, they don't actually lower your blood sugar, if that makes sense. So it can't cause hypoglycemia or too low of a blood sugar on its own. It doesn't, that's not what the medication does. It helps with weight loss, which overall helps in lowering your A1C. It also does other things with the pancreas that helps lower your A1C, which is the 3 month, that's the view of 3 months worth of your blood sugar in a percentage. And
Mhm.
so it helps lower your A1C, but it does not cause low blood sugars or blood glucose, if that makes sense.
Okay,
So
so it's not
somebody, mhm,
so, and I'm repeat again, everyone. This is not medical advice.
no,
Please, if you have any medical questions or concerns, please contact your primary doctor. We're
yes,
just talking about what these medicines do. We're not giving anybody any medical advice.
none at all.
So,
And this is coming from my perspective and how I interpret the literature from it as
okay.
well.
All right. So, you can pretty much take it safely.
Yeah, it's a safe medication. That's why people who aren't diabetic can take it. And we give it to people who are on multiple different diabetic medications as well, metformin, um, uh, Jardiance, and all those other medications that
So, so you can take it with Jardians.
you can take it with Jardiance, you can take it with metformin, you can take it with insulin because it doesn't lower your blood sugar. Now, if you take it with insulin, the insulin can lower your blood sugar, but
Okay.
it's supposed to not cause hypoglycemia.
Okay. So, I mean, these drugs, say if you did decide to use it for weight loss, it would pretty much cost you thousands of dollars per month, correct?
It it
If you had to
depends.
buy it out of pocket. You're not diabetic, you have no um, um, underlining health issues, and you just want to take it to lose weight, and your insurance don't cover it.
Well, you're not supposed to get it prescribed at that point unless,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
So
you're
how are
only,
people getting it then? That's what I'm a little confused about. I saw people on the internet using it.
the
So
classification of obesity is a BMI of 30 or more, or yeah, overweight, excuse me. No, sorry, obesity is 30 or more. And so that's a lot of people. That's a lot of
okay,
people.
but I thought for your insurance to pay for it, you had to have an underlying condition, not just obesity. So you can, I mean, a lot of people can be obese,
Hmm.
but say you have no underlying conditions. You don't have diabetes, you don't have high blood pressure, you don't have any of those things. You just overweight. So your insurance would still pay for it even then? Or do
Like
you
I said, I
need
don't know the weight loss side of it, but a lot of times with obesity, it comes a lot of times with comorbidities.
okay, but not everybody who obese have underlying conditions. So
No,
what I'm saying, I know they have one, I forgot the name you mentioned for obesity. I'm
we
not
go.
necessarily talking about that one. I'm talking
Uh-huh.
about the other ones, Ozempic, Trulicity, those.
Uh-huh.
Uh, you can't get those without having diabetes, correct?
They were prescribing Ozempic. I don't know how much like the Victoza or Syngenta it is another name brand of it, but they were prescribing Ozempic for people who were overweight or obese and not diabetic. That's why there was a shortage on Ozempic, or is
Okay.
still a shortage on Ozempic.
Okay. So that's what I was wondering. So most people can get their insurances to cover it. It's kind of like
Well,
what I'm hearing.
yeah, but to a certain extent, like I said, I don't know the bill, like how they're billing on the weight loss side of it. Where I work, I only prescribe Ozempic to diabetics, type 2 diabetics specifically. You can't give it to type 1. So I only prescribe to diabetics, but it has been difficult to get people Ozempic because it's so hard to get.
So why not? What won't they just use Trulicity?
I don't know if they're using Trulicity for weight loss. We use Trulicity for diabetics. It's just Ozempic is, like I said, I think it's one of the original ones. So it's just a go-to one. Everyone knows it. So insurance usually covers it. So
Okay. So Trulicity is probably the more expensive one.
no, they're all equal. It's just insurance picks and chooses which ones they want for the
Okay. So
plan
the
that the person is on, and
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So what happens when you stop using it? Say I go on my diet or whatever it is. I
Hmm.
use this Ozempic or Trulicity, and I can fit in my wedding dress now. Okay,
Hmm.
so I said I'm not going to use it no more. Um, what happens then?
I hear mixed reviews because I hear that it's a lifelong drug. That's something you'll have to continue to take in order to maintain. Then I also hear that people, if you maintain the lifestyle or same basically caloric deficit, because that's what you're in, a caloric deficit when you can't eat that much, you can maintain it. But then I also hear reviews of saying that they stopped it, stayed at the same um, calories that they were eating before, and they rebound, gained the weight back.
So I mean, so it kind of it sounds so much like a gastric bypass because is that drug training your brain in your stomach to eat a certain amount, and when you start eating past that, you feel sick? Because that's what I'm wondering. When you stop using it and you didn't use it for a while, So your brain is kind of used to eating this portion, this amount of food. Is I'm just wondering, do it stick with you? Do it become a habit, and you no longer want to eat 3 Big Macs or something like that? I mean,
Well, when you're taking the medication, what it does is it actually stops, it actually slows down how fast your food is digesting. So the food is just sitting in your stomachs and it's taking longer to digest down to the rest of your digestional tract. And so you like I said in the beginning, you can eat more, but you'll feel really sick. And that's one of the things that deters people from eating more. And so they eat less just because of that side effect of feeling sick if they try to force themselves to eat more.
okay. So that is very interesting. And I
It's an
mean,
amazing drug. It really is.
so you think that could be the solution to obesity in the future?
Um, I mean, I think lifestyle change and good relationships with food and physical activities to so and having the resources and the ability to get nutritional foods is going to be what helps with obesity. I think these things are good. I think these are good additives to get things going, to get a good
Yeah,
start.
but I mean, we live in the real world. McDonald's ain't going nowhere. Burger King ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut and Domino's ain't going nowhere. So I'm saying for the real world uh, scenarios to where we know people, most people or many people, I'm not going to even say most, I just say many people is never going to eat right. But these drugs can at least lower how much calories they consume per day.
Yeah. Yeah, it can.
So people that's never going to change their eating habits um,
Well,
can really benefit from this, as well as people who willing to change their eating habits.
just like gastric bypass, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can keep pushing your stomach to the point where you can start consuming the calories you used to eat and you can gain weight again.
Yes.
Nothing, if you're not making the proper lifestyle changes that you need to make along with the assistance of a medication or a procedure to help with that, then it's not going to be you're not going to have success in the long run. But not only that, you may be slender, but your health is not, it's going to be poor.
Well, just as long as I look good, right? So I mean, that's how a lot of people think. They don't care about all the other stuff. I mean, you can tell by some of the what they call them BBLs or whatever they get, the different surgeries and all of that stuff. So I mean, I don't know. I think that it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because by doing this, you don't have to change your eating habits as much. It just make you eat less of the bad stuff. And that's what it sound like a lot of people mainly using it for. They still want to eat the bad stuff. They just can't eat as much as the bad stuff as they used to without the medication.
Well, and regardless, even with type 2 diabetics whose insurance are willing to cover a good portion of it, it's expensive. You're gonna pay out of pocket for it. And so, um, I don't know, it seems like an expensive medication that you're gonna have to pay for monthly to not make proper lifestyle medication. But I mean, excuse me, lifestyle changes. So, I don't know. But it is a very expensive medication.
Okay. So, like, I don't know. some people be willing to pay that. I mean, probably until they can't afford to pay it anymore. I mean, that's a tough call. I do understand what you're saying, that it may discourage some people from using it, and they might decide to live a more healthier life. But I mean, all the health warnings never discourage anybody from consuming a lot of fast food and soda and all of those things. And we can even throw cigarettes and the rest of the stuff in there. So I don't know. I think long as the insurances are paying for it, people is
That's the
not
thing.
going to.
They're not covering it in full, regardless. They're just very expensive medications, and so um, insurance is never. I mean, I haven't seen it for type 2s where it's completely covered. There's even out of pocket costs regardless of type of insurance you have. So you're going to be paying, and to maintain that medication lifelong, if that's going to have to be the route you take, then I mean, I would make the proper changes you need to make to sustain a healthy lifestyle and maintain your weight.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Shanice. Thanks for all the good information you shared with us. I repeat again, this is not medical advice.
No.
Any medical advice you need, please contact your primary doctor and take it from there. This is not medical advice.
No.
So I appreciate you taking the time to come and share your knowledge with us. And we'll talk about this more.
Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you go and check out our other videos here.